Hey guys, Scott Fishman here. Today we have an awesome guest, someone who's been making waves on WOW Women of Wrestling. You saw her this past weekend. She had a big win with Team Spirit with Randy Rara and Coach Campanelli. Ariel Sky, how's it going today?
Hi, it's going well. Thank you so much for having me.
So, you're kind of new to the scene of WoW. You had such a great response from fans. You saw it on social media when you debuted. I think it was in June with WoW Winter of Wrestling. Just talk about just the feedback that you've been given. You've been in the business for a little bit now, so just talk about having this platform now with a bigger audience.
I actually hit my 1 year in wrestling this April. So it's super exciting. I love being an addition to WOW Women of Wrestling. It's just phenomenal. I was very shocked to see the feedback, at fans tweeting at me or Instagram. I read everything. I do my very, very best to reply to everyone as well, because I just feel like the fans are the reason we're here. If the fans didn't care about me, why would anyone? So I just have been getting such positive feedback, and it really, really means the world to me. I train super hard in the gym, at wrestling practice, gymnastics, everything. So that when I step inside a WOW Women of Wrestling wrestling ring, I can put my best foot forward and really, really just, give my best efforts and, try to bring a new and exciting wrestling match to entertain people. Because again, I'm here for the fans. As much as it feels like it's the other way, the fans are here for me. It's really, the fans mean everything to WOW Women of Wrestling superheroes.
So, you mentioned a year. How did you describe just a little bit how making the transition from gymnastics to pro wrestling? How did that, what inspired you? Was there someone that you saw on TV or someone made an interaction that you had?
So my wrestling career story is very long and bizarre, but I suppose the transition, so to speak, I kind of already was, I don't want to say far removed from gymnastics, because I still was going, not competing by any means. A lot older for that, but just going to do tumbling and still, kind of stay with it. Because for most people, when they say, oh, it's like riding a bike, that's kind of how gymnastics is to me. I could kind of not do something in gymnastic sense for a little bit and then like pick it up again, because I've done it for so long. But I suppose the initial like transition from gymnastics to wrestling, the athletic side was never really a struggle. Like I could see a move or something and kind of do it, but the whole wrestling itself was very hard for me. Even chain wrestling, so to speak, or mat wrestling, if you will, still is hard. The psychology side of it, understanding why I'm going to do what I am doing or how to fight back, is a struggle. I wasn't a huge wrestling fan growing up, so I've never watched wrestling from a fan standpoint, so it does make it a little different. Because a lot of people, I think they're just under the impression, my mother as well, that you just go in there and you just do whatever. It's like, people are forgetting the storytelling side, in the sense of, and I say storytelling in the sense of like, okay, like I'm going out there with a purpose. Like, I'm going to go out there to, yes, win the wrestling match. And yes, I want to incorporate my gymnastics moves and athleticism, but it's not like I'm just going out there and just doing anything to do it. Each move and each skill has a purpose. And there's a reason behind why I'm going to give someone a drop kick. I'm not just doing it because I'm just doing it. It's okay. you know, so the
Who helped you? Who helped
psychology.
you kind of make that? Who's been like training wise? Like, are there any names that you can mention that have kind of
Um,
connect the dots?
yeah. So training wise, I now train in the city at a phenomenal school in Brooklyn. It is called the Fallout Shelter. It is owned by Joaquim and Joe Kay. And one of the coaches that I work very closely with there is Jorge Santi. He has been phenomenal. And it translates back to, even if I'm not at practice, I am constantly messaging him, bothering him. Hey, does this make sense? Can I do this? How about this? What about this? So I am just constantly harassing this man for his knowledge, and I just want to suck it out of him and absorb it all, because he has been super, super helpful when I was in LA with WOW for my first season, WOW Women of Wrestling. And, because they're super great with kind of giving you full range of your wrestling match. Do what you want to do. But I always revert back to him and make him help me make sense. That's one thing he always says, make it make sense. It's like,
Gotcha.
okay,
What
cool.
about in terms of like tape? Is there anyone you're reviewing right now? You mentioned not, really being the fan per se, but is there anybody that
Um, yeah, so I really, really like I feel like it's most girls. Trish Stratus, I take a lot of her stuff and try to add my own flair to it. I feel like, a lot of people do kind of compare me to her already, just with like the fitness background, the blonde hair, the look, so to speak. And it is such a phenomenal honor. But, being now a newly superhero and WOW Women's of Wrestling, I want to make things my own, and I want to stand out on my own. I don't really want to be compared to someone else. So I'm trying to study stuff. And like I said, really, really make it my own, so I can bring this to WOW Women of Wrestling.
So what was the moment you mentioned not being a fan that you're like, okay, I'm going to give this a try? Did someone kind of recruit you?
I'm laughing because it's a long story, but that's what we're here for. So like, yes and no. My whole life is just all intertwined, and I feel like everything, I don't want to say is predetermined, but everything really, really happens for a reason. I was dating someone, and at the time he owned a nutrition store. So there was someone in there that had a tryout with a company at the Arnold Classic. And at the time I was in fitness. So I was working with different supplement companies, and we would always go to the Arnold, so forth, whatever. Then rewind or fast forward, if you will. I was dating someone else, and his friend was a huge wrestling fan. And he was like, hey, do you want to go to an event tonight? And I was like, yeah, like it's Monday night. What else do I have going on? Why not? So we go, and I'm sitting in the arena, and I just like hear someone's music hit, and the place went nuts. And I was just like looking around, and I was like, wow. And I just felt this energy and this like huge like presence, and I'm like looking around because I don't like see anyone, and the music hits, and like I said, like I didn't know who it was, so I'm just sitting there, and the place went nuts. And I remember I looked at my boyfriend at the time, and I just like watched their match, and like with my gymnastics and athletic background, I just looked at him and I go, I can do this. Sorry, my phone just started to die, so I got a notification.
No problem.
I was like, I can do this, and I want to do this, and I'm gonna do this. And it's funny because so then I emailed this person, the talent manager number that I had got from someone, the other ex-boyfriend's employee, if you will. And I had emailed them, saying like, hey, I don't know anything about wrestling. This is my background, but like, I'm eager to learn. And I had gotten a tryout, and nothing had come forward from that. And then, fast forward to now-ish, I started wrestling, and just a local school by me. I'd switched schools a few times. The pandemic happened, everything happened, and I was like, maybe wrestling's not for me, like everything just keeps happening. And then I had gotten a call from David McLean, owner of WOW Women of Wrestling, and I had met the Carlson twins, Miami Sweet Heat, through fitness, and they had told David about me. And he had called me up, and everything just aligned, and all of my worlds kind of combined and connected. And here you have Ariel Sky, the newest Women of Wrestling superhero. And I could not be more thankful and grateful that this is where my journey and path and career has taken me.
Who was the person that you didn't say who was the person that was that you saw the fans reacting? Was it what do you remember the person?
Oh, yes. So I believe it was the Bella twins. They had, I don't remember, maybe 2015, 16, because I had my tryout in 2017. And then I didn't do anything with wrestling for a handful of years. So
when you say tryout, was it a WWE tryout or?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
Okay,
So sorry, going back, like I feel like I told a few stories.
Just make sure people are aware. So you had
yeah.
Okay.
So I had how I had gotten that tryout is the one gentleman that worked for an ex-boyfriend of mine at a nutrition store had the talent manager's email, and I asked him, I was like, hey, this is like wild and far-fetched, but do you still happen to have the talent manager's email address? And he was like, yeah, I'll send it over. And then I had emailed them basically saying like, hey, I don't know anything about wrestling, but like eager to learn. And lo and behold, I had gotten that, and then things transpired. And now I'm proud and happy to say I am a superhero for WOW Women of Wrestling.
Awesome. It seems interesting enough that you weren't deterred from your tryout, because a lot of people will have the tryout, they didn't get in, and then are like, that's the end of it for me. But that's just kept.
Oh, I was.
You were. Okay. What brought your motivation out then? What made you keep going?
Again, everything is connected and intertwined. So this story is also relates back to wrestling, but yeah, man, I was crushed. But I just, really sat and thought with it. And I just was kind of questioning like, hey, why are you so sad and upset? Because I didn't even know how to lock up at my tryout. So it's like, why am I letting something make me feel this sort of way when I don't even know if I'm good at this thing, if I like this thing, wrestling being this thing.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so from there, I kind of searched around, because I was like, okay, yeah, there's got to be something there if I'm this upset over something that didn't happen, So I'm like, okay, there's a reason there. So I went to find a school by me, and I trained there for a little bit. I hated it. I won't lie. The coach wasn't great. Everything about it, I did not learn anything. So I kind of gave up from there. I was like, I don't think this is for me. I had to get my life together. So I went to work at a local bar by me, to kind of just figure my stuff out. I was a personal trainer as well, but I just kind of was burnt out of all aspects of fitness, wrestling, whatever it might be. And I just remember being in the bar one Tuesday night, and I was working, and they had wrestling on TV. And it's the first time I'm working with this new gentleman, Peter, who is very near and dear to my heart for this reason. And It was wrestling. It was on TV. And I just remember I said something in regards to wrestling, and he turned and looked at me. He's like, you know about wrestling? Like, what? Like, a girl knows about wrestling? And I was like, oh yeah, like whatever. I had to try out, and I like brushed it off. And then like at the end of our shift, like he like came up to me and he was like, okay, like I didn't forget what you said. Like, you said you had to try out with wrestling and you're not wrestling anymore. And I was like, yeah, that's correct. And then he had inspired me to go back to wrestling. So I was like, okay, like, training is on Monday nights. The bar work is closed on Mondays. I work Tuesday nights. Like, okay, let's go. I went back to training for like 3 months. Wrestle Pro in Rahway, New Jersey, owned by Pat Buck, who has been in the wrestling industry forever. I'm sure you know who he is. Phenomenal school. I recommend it to everyone and anyone. I learned so much. It was 3 months in, and then COVID. So I was like, oh my God. Like,
We
I'm
pick up
like,
to where we are now.
yeah.
After COVID, then things kind of twiddled around. I mean, I see you working on the independent scene very frequently, and then got that phone call, and now you're within the WOW Superhero. So incredible story. And you're coming full circle by using your gymnastics background, which is incredible. Real quick, just a little bit about just how being the character that you are on screen. Also, how is it kind of adjusting to being that television persona? You talked about being a character and being able to kind of portray a character. What's great about WOW is everybody kind of digs into their backgrounds a little bit, and it's a lot of there are characters, but it's a lot of themselves kind of just turned up per se. You have AJ there, who's awesome, has a big name, big following. Dave McClain's been around a long time. Talk about just acclimating with that and just the veterans that you're working with, and just your overall first impressions as we're going to first season, and now going in incredibly starting to tape season 2 next month.
Yeah, so for sure. I'll just touch base on the character side. I'm a real life character. Like, I've been told that my whole life. So I don't really think Ariel Sky is a character. It's an extension of myself. It's very gymnastics based, and that's my whole life. So I really just think it is me turned up times 1,000 with way more makeup and cameras around. So it makes it very easy, and it's really freaking cool that I just get to be able to be myself on WOW Women's of Wrestling. And I believe we have such a diverse roster at WOW Women of Wrestling that each and every single superhero is really just so unique and so different, which is super inspiring, because you're not going to watch 2 wrestling matches and you're not going to be like, oh, well, like I saw that in the last one. They are just so broad and so different, because each person is truly unique and special to themselves and who they are on and off screen. So it's really just a huge and great opportunity to be on WOW Women of Wrestling. So I just think, we have a little bit of everything here.
How does it, as far as like, do you see yourself more continuing on in the tag team ranks? I mean, you mentioned knowing the Carlson twins. It would be an interesting fate that you'll actually see them on the opposite side of the ring, as you guys are moving on. I mean, very impressive win with a team, for Team Spirit. Is that kind of the goal, is to kind of be in the tag team, or do you kind of,
Thank you. Yeah, I'm totally open and excited to both. I will not lie. I feel like I kind of thrive a little better in singles action, just because, just going back to gymnastics, at age 4 and then competing throughout my life. Yes, you are on a team, but at the end of the day, kind of individually. So I feel like, that's super cool with tag as well, because, like we all can still be part of a team, which is Team Spirit. And we all, bring something different to the table and the group. But, we're all just kind of competing still together but separately. So yeah, I'm excited for both tags and single, and
Got it.
hopefully.
As far it's great that WoW has those tag team, because when you look at a lot of wrestling promotions, they have a tag division, but this one is very diverse. So it's gonna be exciting to see that develop over time. We saw that featured over this past weekend. Next up, you're flying to Los Angeles at the Belasco, where you're gonna be filming season 2. You want to let people know if they want to check it out. It's got to be such a cool atmosphere when you see it from home, but it seems like a very unique thing when you're actually there. And then just let people know, I mean, it's in syndication, so chances are you can check your DVR and check, like I have WoW DVR'd on mine. I have no idea what channel I have it on, but I know that I get it every Saturday night or so I know it's on, so it's easy for me to do it. So just give a little peek, and then also where people can find you. I know you have 2 Twitter accounts, one for Ariel Sky and then another for Nikki Duke, and you're looking to build both up. So talk a little bit about that as we move.
So I'm so glad you brought that up, because I bent over backwards for the fans to get a discount code for this August, which we will be live at the Belasco Theater in California. So I will post the links and everything for that on my social media. But I feel like it's super cool. The fans can come out and watch everything before it airs firsthand, live, with a jam-packed, sky-high action show with like all these superheroes at the Belasco in August. So I will post that on my socials. For WOW Women of Wrestling Ariel Sky, my social medias, I have Twitter and Instagram. Those are the only 2 I have right now. And I've kept the name the same for all of those because there are too many socials. So it is just Ariel Sky _WOW. And I try to post daily with up-to-date things and everything. And I try to interact with everyone on there. Instagram is a little easier for me than Twitter. I just don't understand all of this social media. So
there's a lot going on social media, but it's it's important to build your brand, whether you're an entertainer, no matter what. So it's definitely important. It's good that you have that reach, and it seems like you have a great fan base that's building up right now. Good first impressions.
Yeah, no, all the fans are super, super great. I love interacting with all of them on there.
You might have a troll or 2, or maybe a creepy post or 2.
Yeah,
I'm sure, but for the most part.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you again so much for the time, and fans, definitely check out WoW if you haven't. It has such a great following. It's incredible. You talk about all the other promotions, but when you look at the viewership for this show, it's actually really great, and it's nice to see that the show keeps building momentum. So it's going to be looking forward to season 2 coming up, as well as we're right in the middle of season 1. So congratulations on everything, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.